In almost 30 years of public education, I was a junior high band director. I was a middle school assistant principal, an elementary principal, and a central office administrator. But the thing that brings me here to do something like this morning is that for as long as I can remember, I've been interested in the systems and the tools that people use to help them be productive. So this morning we're going to bring you free tech tools that increase productivity. Now, we could easily give you 200 tools, but you can't assimilate 200 tools. What we're going to give you is several that I use every day that make a tremendous difference in my productivity. And here you see them on the screen. And we're going to start with one called IG Home. The idea with this one is that when you open your internet browser, something is going to be your home page, and for all too many people, it's whatever it was the day the computer came out of the box. So we're going to change all that. You know, when a pilot sits down at that cockpit, as soon as he sits down in the seat, he's got this dashboard in front of him. Many helpful tools, how high he's flying, how fast he's going, how much fuel he has, so that every time he sits down in that seat, he has access to those tools. That's what I want every time I open my browser, and I have it with IG Home. So when I open my internet browser from any of my computers, here's what I see. And I can also open this from any public computer by going to ighome.com and then putting in my username and password. So starting at the top, there's that familiar black bar that you see with all of the Google products, where each of those is a link to something of value. Right below that, there's a Google search. So I can search Google from right here on my home page without going anywhere else. Now I've got some control over that. If I go to my profile, I can change what search engine is being used, so that if I want to use Yahoo search or Bing search, that I can do that. And then secondly, from my profile, I get to change those black bar links. I've got up to about a dozen of those where I can change what the label is, and then I can put in whatever the URL is that I want to go to when I click on that particular item. So let's go back out here to my iGoogle homepage. I use Google Calendar for my calendar, Toodle-Doo for my to-do list, and I use Gmail for my email with all email accounts emptying into Gmail. So look at what I have every time I open my browser. Right in front of me is my calendar, my to-do list, and my email from any computer that I use, and I can log into this from any public computer. As I scroll down the page, here's some other tools that I have. Here's the weather forecast in the area where I live. Beside that, some bookmarks. Now, any of our browsers have bookmarks or favorites that we can use. However, you and I have both found that the drawback with that is when you favorite something on one computer, it has no effect on any other computer that you might use. But if I add bookmarks to this little bookmark section, I have it from all of my computers or can log into it from anywhere else. Beside that, I can do a quick search of Evernote. Below that and to the left, if I want to search TV listings for favorite programs, right here from my home page. Google Reader. I have somewhere between 50 and 100 blogs that I like to follow. Anytime there's new material on any of those, it all dumps right into Google Reader. For instance, right now I can see that I've got 681 unread items. I can read them from right here, or I can click on where it says Google Reader, and the Google Reader website opens up. The same is true of any of these gadgets. If I click on the name of it in that upper left-hand corner, it takes me to that gadget. There's a calculator for me. As I scroll down the page, there are more TV listings. There's a bit.ly link shortener. I can put in a long URL and turn it into a short URL. There's news from CNN, TV Guide, my local news, People Magazine, in the lower left corner, ESPN. If you're not familiar with Wolfram Alpha, right above ESPN, it's Similar to Google, only they do two entirely different things. If you're not already familiar with Wolfram Alpha, go to wolframalpha.com and just go through some of the samples that they give so that you can get an idea of what that tool is all about. And then you'll see why I want to have that right here on my homepage. You can have your stock portfolio right here. Gas Buddy. So as gas prices go up, what are the cheap gas prices in my area? I scroll down a little more and I can see what are the box office hits, what's playing in my area, see movie trailers and that sort of thing. I can have Twitter right here on my home page. Next to that, there's MapQuest driving directions, and right above that, Google Translate. Put anything in there, translate it to another language. Now, one of the important concepts with this is I want to make this my home page so that anytime I open my browser, it's going to go here. So how do I do that? At the very bottom of my page, here you see how to set your home page. Click on the browser that you're using, and it gives you instructions for how to do that. So what I've done so far is to give you an idea of what I have on my page. Now I'm going to show you how to set up your own. You'll go to ighome.com, and then what you're going to see is what you now see on your screen. More or less a generic home page. It's going to have the weather forecast for some place in the country. But then what you're going to do is click on that little button that says Sign in to Personalize. And this is also the same thing you would do once you have an account and you're at a public computer. Let's say you went to the public library, you had some time to kill, and you wanted to have access to your Google Calendar and to Gmail and all of these gadgets. You just go to ighome.com, click on Sign in to Personalize. And then whether you have an account or whether you don't, you're going to come to this screen where you either put in your email address and password if you have an account and click Sign In, or to create an account, put in your email address and the password you'd like to have and click Sign In. Once you've created your account, here's where the fun starts. You're going to look for that big blue button that says Add Gadgets and click on it. And when you do, you'll see a list of categories down the left-hand side. Click on a category that you're interested in, and you'll see a whole list of gadgets in that category. Or you can search for a particular gadget that you're interested in. When you see one on your screen that you like, all you have to do is just click the button that says Add It Now, and it instantly appears on your home page. And for example, the weather, you have a little link down there that says Change Location. You just click on that to give it your zip code, and the same thing works with movies or any of the other tools. Now, before we talk about NetVibes, just to tell you a little bit about the flexibility that you have, if you add a gadget and you later decide you don't want it, you just click a little red X in the upper right-hand corner of that gadget, and it goes away. Beside that X will be a little C for Customize. You can click on it and choose the width or the height of the gadget, put in the zip code for the weather, and that sort of thing. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you very briefly about is something called NetVibes, because I like to have a plan B. You see, if we were doing this webinar a year ago, I would not have been talking to you about iGhome. It didn't exist. What I would have been talking to you about is iGoogle, something I'd used as my personalized homepage for years. Google has made the decision that iGoogle will cease to exist as of November 1st, 2013. That left me and many others scrambling for an alternative. That's when iGhome was created, and when I found iGhome. But we know how technology changes, and what's here today can be gone tomorrow. So if something were to happen with iGhome, netvibes.com is my backup. Everything I've told you about iGhome applies here. You're going to be clicking the big Add Content button, the big green button in the upper left. choosing categories, clicking on the widgets that you'd like to add to a NetVibes homepage if that was your choice. And that's IG Home. So as we look at your handout, this guides you through some things that you can do. What gadgets would you like to have on your page? You can make those kinds of decisions. To create an account, you go to ighome.com. To make it your home page, well, those instructions are at the very bottom of your home page. I can get to that home page from someone else's computer. True. All you have to do is go to ighome.com and put in your email and your password. We discussed another alternative called NetVibes. And IG Home is significant because Google is going to sunset on November 1st, 2013. And then that last one I'll leave you to answer for yourself. I want to have a personalized home page because... Arlen, did we have any questions that were typed in the questions area at this point?
Yes, Frank, we did. We got a couple of questions from Michelle. The first
Okay.
one asks, does ToodleDo integrate with Google Calendar, or is it a separate thing?
Okay, ToodleDo is different from Google Calendar. Both of them are free web-based tools. ToodleDo I find to be as powerful or more powerful actually than Outlook. Google Calendar, you'll see that you have what are called Google Tasks, but ToodleDo is much, much more powerful. So, but in answer to the question, they are two different things, two different accounts, two different logins.
Okay, and the other question was just for me on where to get the handout, so I'll take care of that. And Frank, you can go on to the next section.
Okay. Our next tool is Dropbox. I'm going to ask a really stupid question out there. Have any of you ever started working on something at school and then you took it home and you continued working on it there? We all have. And the way we do it when it's on our computers, it's known as the flash drive hokey pokey. You put the flash drive in, you take the flash drive out, you take the flash drive home and put it in your computer there and bring up the document you were working on at school. Now you make the changes and you hope you save it to the flash drive. You hope you remember to bring the flash drive back to school and put it in the computer, and then you get that question of, do you want to overwrite this one with that one? And pretty soon you're going, where is the most recent version of this document anyway? Dropbox changes all that. At Dropbox.com, you create a free account in the cloud. You get 2 gigabytes of storage in the cloud. And then while you're there, you're going to want to download the little Dropbox software. All it does is put a little icon on your desktop that looks like an open box. It's just like any other file folder that you'd have on your computer. You can put documents in there, spreadsheets, videos, audio clips, anything that you could put in any other folder, you can put in that Dropbox folder. The only difference is this. Anything that gets put in that particular folder is synced to the cloud. So if your computer crashed, your information is safe in the cloud. But it gets better. Once you create that account, you're going to go to all of your other computers, your home computer, school computer, laptop, any computer that you use on a regular basis, log into your Dropbox account and download that little My Dropbox. You'll go to your mobile devices, your phone and your tablet. Go to wherever you download your apps and get the Dropbox app. Here's how this now works. I'm at school. I create a document on my computer at school and I save it in that little Dropbox folder. That document goes to the cloud and to all of my other devices. So now I go home and I boot up my computer. In the little Dropbox folder, there's the document that I created at work. I can continue working on it here. Or if I'm chaperoning the basketball game, I can take my laptop with me, boot it up, and there in the little Dropbox folder, there is the document I had started working on. I make changes. My changes are not only saved on that computer in the Dropbox folder, but they go to the cloud and to all of my other devices. I go back to school